In last year's collection of trends, we included a demographic profile on the female frontier. And when we look back at the interest in those 10, the female frontier was probably one of the most researched or talked about in terms of media coverage. And so we wanted to do another demographic profile. And so we thought expanding the next of kin was a good follow-on. When you think about how in the United States there are more single people than married people today, the notion of family is really changing. This traditional concept has become much more fluid, and it's a definition that evolves when you look at things like same-sex marriages, couples that will never marry. 40-some% of children born today in the United States are born to single mothers. And despite all of these shifts in pure demographics, the concept of family still is quite resilient. People love this concept. What's different is that blood and marriage no longer define family, and that people are recognizing that there are levels of companionship that can feel much more intimate than your traditional family member. This concept can be seen in a number of countries. For instance, in Japan, 90% of people adopted are adult males aged 20 to 30 years of age. And it's done as a form of estate planning to protect the bloodlines or the family name, or the practices in terms of estate planning. But we also see it as a form of same-sex marriage. In France, for instance, they have this Solidarity Pact that was instituted in 1999, and it allowed for same-sex marriages to exist or be a legally recognized entity. But in recent years, heterosexual couples are using it, and they call it marriage light. It's kind of a form of long-term companionship. One of the most interesting illustrations comes from China, where you can actually rent a boyfriend. Those young women are doing this because they want to appease their nagging parents, or perhaps they're looking for companionship for Chinese New Year's or China's Singles Day. One of the fundamental things that we contemplate in product development is people movers. And when we ask ourselves, is this person, do they have a family? Who's going to be in this vehicle? Where are they going to take them? What are they going to do? Oftentimes we're left with the traditional notion of a mom, a dad, and 2, 3 kids, maybe a grandparent. But this suggests that we have to reevaluate that, and that there are levels of relationships that exceed bloodlines or marriage.